Hey, it's John and Mike, brew-juice.com, and I brewed a beer last weekend.
Was it like 6 to my 1 now or something?
Nah, I don't think so. Maybe 4.
Okay.
Maybe 4?
I gotta catch up.
I've definitely brewed 1 a month this year.
Okay.
So this is...
oh, wow. That's great.
So there you go. So at least 3. And it's a Russian Imperial Stout. So this was a big test to the old system. 24 pounds of grain. Let's go to John in his basement talking about what he's about to brew.
Sweet.
John, take it away. Hey, thanks guys. Here we are on the set of the Russian Imperial Stout brew session, and because I had 24 pounds of grain, it just wasn't going to fit into this 10-gallon cooler. So I have 17 pounds here, and I have 7 pounds here. Thankfully, I have a 5-gallon cooler from my partial mash days, and we are definitely brewing in a bag so that I can have some grain here mashing away at the same temperature as the grain here. So 17 pounds here, 7 pounds here, same temp, around the same time. This one actually went a little bit longer than this one, but we'll see how it all comes out. I'm going to run it off, and then I have water now getting up to about 170 degrees Fahrenheit to rinse both of these coolers, grains, and then we should have enough volume of wort to actually boil with. So the other funny thing is all my dark grains ended up in here. But we'll see how that turns out. I don't know. We'll see. All right. On to the next part of the brewing session, which is getting all this sweet wort into this bucket. Okay, with the blackness of the Imperial Stout, we have the blackness of night in which we are brewing. And I don't know if you can see that, but on top of that boil is some homegrown Magnum hops to go along with the Warrior pellets that I had left over from the Down Under IPA. So, let me manage this boil, because it's getting really steamy up in here. Okay, 60 minutes is done, the boil is over, I turned off the flame, and now it's time to chill this. I was just going to set this in the snow because I'm tired. It's been a long night, been a lot of cleaning, you know, using 2 different mash tuns. Leaves you a lot of things to clean once you're all done. So I'm just going to put the cover on this, put it in the snow for a while. Once it chills down to a temp that I can actually move it into the basement here, I'm just going to do the no-chill method, and then tomorrow we'll take a gravity reading, and we'll see how it all turned out. So let's wait for that. Let's segue into that right now. Good morning, everybody. This is the hydrometer reading from last night's brew session. I did take a temperature reading of the wort inside the cylinder. It's about 65 degrees, and if I'm reading that correctly, I'm looking at about 1084, 1085. A little lower than what I was hoping for, but I think I need to work on my sparging from big brews, especially when I'm sparging from 2 different mash tuns. So we'll figure it out. Maybe next time I'll do something different. Well, maybe I will do something different and try to make changes to hit the starting gravity that I'm going for. All right, guys, back to you in the studio. Hey, that was really great. Thanks for sending it back here to the studio. So the Russian Imperial Stout, man, you know, they talk about, well, you know, you got to really know your system before you start making these big brews. And I said, I'm an experienced brewer. I'll be okay. But as you can see in that last video, I didn't say what my starting gravity target was, but looking at my recipe, it was supposed to be 1094, and I got 1085. And I'll tell you exactly what happened. I had to split the mash, as I showed you. And when I sparged, I took more from the smaller of the 2 mash tuns, the only one with the 7 pounds of grain rather than the 17. Mm-hmm. And I filled that up, and I took a little bit from the larger mash tun. I should have done it the opposite. Yeah. You know, I should have taken as much as I could of rinse from the 17 pounds And then this is what I should have done. 'Cause I thought about this later. Of course, like, you know, a day later, you're thinking, oh, this is what I should have done. I should have rinsed the 7 pounds, and then poured that on top of the 17-pound ones, and then, you know, topped it off with some water, and then rinsed that down, and done. But I just didn't. And then also brings up, I need a refractometer if I'm going to do these bigger brews, so I have a better understanding of what my starting gravity is pre-boil.
Refractometer.
Now I know why. I
For the
need
win.
one. For the win. It's still lower than a firm wrap. I'm going to get that. Anyway, so that's the big takeaway of from that brew. Again, the other thing I should have done too is just say like, but I had to go bold. I want to make 5 gallons. I should have said, let me just make 3.
Yeah.
And then been more economical about my ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been able to do more with less ingredients.
Yep.
Maybe next time. I don't know.
Or you could have done, not that you want to do this, but you could have planned it out with, like, to supplement with some DME.
But I didn't.
Based on your
I didn't
limitations.
want to do that.
No, I know. No, I wouldn't necessarily want to do it either. But
It's all about trial and error. And everything I read about
yeah.
these Russian Imperial Stouts is, well, if you're going to have to work it out and try to figure out what your system, your brewing system can handle. And I found out it's just
so
expensive.
you went into it with your recipe formulation, assuming the same efficiency that you get with a regular beer, or did you
I didn't
dial back?
Of course, I said the same efficiency because I can do this, but I can't.
Yeah. Okay? But there is a diminishing return
yes,
anyway.
There is.
It doesn't matter how good you are as a brewer. There's a point at which you're adding more and more grain to a ton in a set volume. That efficiency goes down. There's no. But doesn't matter how good you are. You
that's
lose
why.
Efficiency
Yes. My recipe only called. I didn't add it all up. But I actually added a little more base malt.
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3 more pounds of base malt.
Yeah.
To make up for that efficiency.
Yeah.
Because another tip I read was, well, you should start if it's only asking for, like, say, I don't know, 16 pounds.
Yeah.
You should try to, like, more 20 or something.
Yeah.
And I went for it.
Yeah.
But, you're putting 24 pounds of grain in your 10-gallon cooler. You've got 2 gallons of space.
Cool.
Where
the and as a batch sparger, that's a little bit. It's intimidating, right? Because you don't have drink. Yeah.
That's
whereas
why
if
I was
you're
like,
a fly sparger, you could you could work with that, which we're not fly spargers.
Exactly. So that's why I split it after I poured it all in. And I saw I only had headspace of. I saw that it came up right up to the 8-gallon mark of the 10-gallon cooler.
Yeah.
I said, this is not going to work.
So did you have? You went with your same mash density, right? Grains per quarts per pound.
Yep. So
what do you usually mash at? 1.25?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's what I calculated.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I kind of fudge it for, say, a 12-pound grain bill. I sometimes just round up to. It kind of works out.
Yeah. I always round.
It's like 1.25 to 1.5 quarts per pound.
Yeah. I formulate all my mashes at 1.5 quarts per pound.
Yeah.
Just because I found that little extra water per pound, I think it increases your thermal net mass, and I get more stability in my mash, temperature-wise at least. Interestingly, 2 side notes. Have you ever looked at the Green Bay Mashers website? They have a little app, not an app, but it's on their website, so it's a little calculator.
Yep.
It's called Can I Mash It? And
Really?
Something like that. And basically what it does is it says it's a way of putting in the poundage and your grain to water ratio, and it tells you what's the volume of the mash going to be.
Okay.
So you can kind of use that as a resource to figuring out, we don't all have different tons.
Yeah.
My mash ton is huge, but I mean, most people have like a 10-gallon setup like you do. You can type that stuff into the Green Bay Mashers website, and they have like a cool little calculator.
Okay.
Interestingly, second resource on high gravity brewing, Chris Colby, formerly of Brew Your Own Magazine fame, on his new venture, his website, Beer and Wine Journal, I think he just finished up like a 3-part series on high gravity brewing.
Really?
Yeah, so just an interesting side note to add a little more depth.
Well, thanks for pointing this out before I brew the Russian Imperial Stout, Michael.
Oh, well.
It's okay. I kind of went into it thinking, I have all this experience, let's see what happens. And I'm all about,
learning
Yeah.
as I do it.
We've talked about that a few videos
Yeah,
ago, right?
absolutely.
You got to do it. You just got to do it.
Just go and guns blazing and see what
And next
happens.
time you'll just brew a 1035 bitter instead.
No, I have the next brew already
No,
kind of lined up,
good.
but because
Another big brew?
no.
Okay. No, but we've been talking about doing some high gravity.
That's
brewing.
exactly.
I with the big mash that I have, I want to do. I love stout, obviously.
Yeah.
I want to do a big imperial stout,
Yeah.
but I also want to try to pull a second running stout out of it too, and
Yeah.
do like a maybe have some sort of dry stout, 2 beers for 1 mash session. You know, we'll see.
So I hope that you, the viewer, actually learn from us. I don't know. I mean, it's sometimes you see the comments and they act as if you know everything about homebrewing. We clearly don't. But the whole thing about it is to teach and learn from each other. And I've read as much as I could about it. Clearly, there were things I missed. But at the same time, I think that it's all about doing,
In the end, when we do
Prepare.
the tasting video,
Yeah.
that's the only place
Well,
it'll matter.
I'll see you in
you know.
October. It's not even going to be
Oh.
ready for a while, man.
Well, at
That's
least
the
we'll be
whole thing.
drinking stout in October. That's good.
That's right.
All right.
That was my plan. At least have the first bottles then, and then we'll taste it hopefully. I don't know. 1085 is it really It's going to be not as high as alcohol as I
If you
want
want
it
to see
be.
that video in October, keep subscribing, keep liking our videos,
Yeah, this is the long
so
con.
we can make
man.
it to October,
The
man.
long con. He's like, well,
Exactly.
they are gonna drink that Russian Imperial Stout sometime in the fall.
Free
So.
samples for everybody.
I don't have enough. All right, for John and Mike, brew-stouts.com. Brew on. I need another beer.
Brew big.
Brew big. Try to.